There's a little drama that we need to kind of confess at the beginning. We haven't really done a team teaching thing before. And Kathrine comes from a family of 6 kids. And when they get together, this absolutely drives me nuts. They get in a conversation, they cut each other off, they interrupt, and her thinking is, yeah, but eventually it comes back to me and I get to say what I'm going to say, right? So, but not in my family. My family, you know, if somebody's speaking, you let them speak, and then when they're finished, then it's your turn, right? So, I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think?
So we a little nervous. So that's why last week we just did my part, his part, my part. Tonight we're going to try to interact. I've told Tom when I interrupt him, he's not to get upset because there's a camera on us. He has to fake it. To make it a little bit more natural here. So yeah, you're our guinea pigs on trying to do this together. And we are glad to be here, and hopefully it feels a little bit more natural tonight. I think you're going to start an introduction. And
yeah, so last week, if you were here, we worked through some sections of Isaiah 53, which really talks about the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made to bring us into his family, to redeem us, to cancel out our sin. It talks about the Messiah being a suffering servant who's rejected, who gives his life for the redemption of his people. So tonight we're kind of carrying on with that, now looking more at, okay, he's done this for us, so what are the benefits? What now? Yes, it's great to know that, but what does this mean for life today? So
what we're looking at is, you know, last week was the general death on behalf of all, right? Tonight is the invitation specifically to you and to you and to you as an individual. So we're going to start with Isaiah 55, verses 1 through 3 to begin.
Next page here.
Yeah, I think I turned it over. You want to start?
So we're just going to read the first 3 verses here. Come, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk with money and without money and without cost. Why spend money on what is not bread, and your labor on that which does not satisfy? Listen to me and eat what is good, and your soul will delight in the richest of fare. Give ear and come to me, hear me, that your soul may live.
All right, so there are 3 questions to be asked in this passage. The first question is, who are invited? The second question is, what are they offered? And the third question is, what are they told to do in order to get it? So we're going to kick off with who is invited.
My turn?
Your turn.
Oh, you didn't interrupt.
No, I did not.
No, you did not.
Give me time.
Yeah.
I won't disappoint you.
All right. Well, the first verse says, come all you who are thirsty, and then you who have no money. So basically, they're the thirsty and the broke. Not all of you, probably none of us really are quite in that position. Thirsty are people who really don't have enough to eat or drink, and the broke are those who don't have any money whatsoever. So that's the opening invitation. Now, I don't know, in your discussion questions, maybe some of you have been in that situation or close to it.
Maybe give them some more examples of thirst.
So,
their spiritual thirst.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking totally about I don't have water to drink, but the idea of dried up hopes, dreams that have waited and almost died, dead-end streets, empty, unfulfilled, no motivation, dissatisfied, being thirsty and not feeling fulfilled. And I think well, do you want to say anything more about being broke? Because to me, being broke means not having money.
I think broke literally in this case is no money. So.
And We've been through a major recession, and we know a lot of people that came very close, or some that actually had to declare bankruptcy, others who lost their home. So it's not out of the realm of experience. But for most of us, at least hopefully, we're not broke and we're not thirsty in that sense.
On the other hand, the Lord says, if you are in that place tonight, and I'm guessing there could be at least one or two in a group like this, the odds are, the Lord says, you are exactly the candidate I am looking for. Everyone who thirsts and has no money, you have no resources, no bargaining power, no track record, no power, you have no prestige, no pull. God, it is inviting you to the banquet of salvation this morning. And really, to people in that category, it is a fantastic offer and pretty easily accepted. But as we said, we're guessing most of you are probably not in the spiritually thirsty desert place tonight, or necessarily in the broke. We think that most of you are going to be in this second category, which is, why do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which does not satisfy? So the people in this group are people who have money and are spending it, and they have strength and they are working. So these are people who have the new car or the new boat or the new computer or the new relationship. They've got the house, they've got the dreams, they're searching, they're dreaming still, they are experimenting, and basically life on the outside still seems really good. But the problem of being in this category is there can still be a whole lot of emptiness underneath. Why? Because the new computer becomes the old computer. The new car becomes the old car. The job that you're succeeding in, there's always the pressure to keep succeeding and keep producing. And there's always somebody younger now coming up behind you, right? Willing to pay the cost and invest more hours to take your place. Everything gets old, the options get fewer, there's no pot at the end of the rainbow, there's no fountain of youth, and if you're honest, you know that there is still beneath the surface an ocean of need, and God knows this better, and He has you in mind when He says, why are you spending your money for the things that don't satisfy? Why are you wasting your energy for the things that don't fulfill you in the end? So two kinds of people, right?
Two kinds of people, the thirsty and the broke, and maybe we call the rest of us the self-sufficient types, which we all have that tendency to want to keep God in a box, or to be self-sufficient, or to be driven by things that don't really satisfy. I can't remember where were we the other day when we were out to dinner, and we saw a family. It was a husband, wife, and two kids, and virtually for the entire time, all four of them were sitting there staring at their phones and doing stuff, and no interaction and so forth.
We see that a lot actually now, not just one time, over and over.
So why spend money on what is not bread? And why work for something that doesn't satisfy? And I think the Lord is saying here that many times we simply are investing in the wrong stuff, or elevating something that's meant to be very temporal and in some respects superficial, and substituting that for what really is supposed to meet our deeper needs.
So it's a great invitation, right? Because if you find yourself in any of those categories, God is saying, come to me. I am ready for you. I'm waiting for you. And this is what He has to offer. He says, I have water, and I have milk, and I have wine. Tom, what is your favorite drink?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke, okay. And mine too, because actually we aren't coffee drinkers, and we're pretty much not, I wouldn't, we might take a toast at a wedding or something of alcohol, but for the most part, we really don't drink alcohol. So Diet Coke over the years has become our beverage of choice. I will order it if I go out to breakfast, right? But Tom is also an avid hiker. I was not when I met him. He had to introduce it to it. And as much as Tom loves Diet Coke, what do you put in your water bottle when you go on a hike?
Water.
Water.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Well, because there just is nothing like cresting up the top of Mission Peak on a hot summer day, and you're sweating and you're tired and the salt's crusting around you, to pop open a Nalgene bottle and have that cold water. It just tastes so good, even if it's not cold. I mean, if it's Diet Coke, it's warm by the time the fizz is gone and it's not really satisfying. So water, just when you're thirsty, water. Isn't that right? Doesn't water, cold water when you're thirsty? Wow.
So the idea of water here is it's when you're your most thirsty and when you're most desperate. And the idea as a Christian is hopefully you are not in a continuous state of needing water. It's those times of peak refreshment. And I think, Tom, we were brainstorming today at lunch, and you had some ideas of why did people get to this extreme thirst?
Well, what did we talk about at lunch today? I just remember the Mexican food was really good, but well, I think when you become deeply thirsty, you've gone for a long period of time neglecting things that are very important to you. Often that happens when our priorities get skewed, and sometimes it can kind of creep up to you. If you think of water in the whole hiking illustration, how do you know you're dehydrated? When are you dehydrated? When you first notice it? Usually you're already dehydrated. And then you feel thirsty, and you start getting that little headache, and you start feeling, wow, I need water. You're already dehydrated, started earlier. And I think sometimes we really neglect the spiritual dimensions of our life, the disciplines of our life, and we let ourselves get spiritually dehydrated. Then when we realize it, it's kind of too late.
Sometimes you're just in a desert because God is taking you through a desert, right? And actually you can be very, very close to God in that period. But for whatever reason, he's stretching it out, right? It's that period of long, intense prayer when you're giving a ministry to him or a relationship to him and you're not seeing the progress. So those are times where you also need the thirst. It's not always by our own fault, but it often can be. But the point is God is there for you, and he wants to be your refreshing water, and he will be your refreshing water if you call out to him. The second thing that God gives us and offers us is milk. And milk should be thought of as nourishment, spiritual nourishment. When you're gasping for life, you give somebody water. But when you want a little baby to grow day after day, what do you feed them? You feed them milk, right? That is what gets those babies growing and thriving. So God isn't just for the emergencies and for the mountain peaks. God is for health in the long haul. So he not only invites you to come alive with water, but he wants you to be stable and strong with milk. And that's where those spiritual disciplines come from. It means finding a home church.